The Edge by Jessie Keane. Read by Karen Cass. Chapter 1. 1980. It was 7 in the morning, and it was freezing. A yellow-grey cast to the clouds that spoke of snow. The north wind bit like a rabid dog. The shivering staff were readying themselves to go back into the huge supermarket warehouse on the outskirts of London after their tea break. Perishing out here. But at least it was fresh air. A break from the monotony of inside. "Right, better get to it," sighed Jane, casting one last look around the bleak landscape of the industrial estate before crushing the stub of her fag out beneath her heel. It wasn't exactly pretty by the wire fence, where they stood hunched against the searing wind, and the job was boring as fuck, stacking this, moving that, but it paid the bills. She was up to her eyeballs in debt after the usual Christmas blowout. Buying the kids presents she could ill afford. Well, could not afford, not since their dad, the rotten bastard, had taken to the hills last June. So the job had to be done, love it or hate it. She took one last wistful look at her Sun newspaper. Mrs. Gandhi had won the election in India. The steel strike was ongoing, and the Ruskies were swarming all over Afghanistan, trying to wipe out Afghan army units, or the Mujahideen, no one seemed quite sure which. Jane folded the paper, shoved it under her arm. Same old shit. Happy New Year. "Yep, we'd better," said her mate Susan, and chucked the remains of her tea onto the scrubby patch of grass, moving along with everyone else toward the high warehouse wall. Nobody took any notice of the armoured van coming down the road beside the perimeter fence behind another larger lorry. The payroll van came at this time every week. No big deal. But then, the huge 18-wheeler juggernaut in front of the van carrying all their wages suddenly braked, jackknifing to a halt in front of it. The payroll van screeched to a standstill. Everyone stopped and watched, open-mouthed at what was happening 20 yards away from them. What the? Now, another van, dark green, roared up and slid, scorching rubber, close to the back of the payroll van. Jesus, what? The workers stood transfixed, disbelieving. Men were pouring out of the juggernaut and the green van. "Christ almighty," gasped Jane, clutching at Susan. The men wore body armour, balaclavas, rock-climbing helmets, heavy boots and overalls. Some were carrying shotguns, and others had pistols. 2 of them got out chainsaws from the rear of the green van. They shimmied under the payroll truck, and the chainsaws roared into life as they cut into the truck's hydraulic cables. "Christ, they're going to take the money," said Susan. Like iron filings to a magnet, all the workers shrank back against the wall of the building. "Look," Jane said. One of the guards inside the van was picking up his radio. "Don't," said a hooded man standing in front of the van. He was holding something up in each hand. Both items were green and circular. "What's he doing?" whispered Jane, trying to blend into the wall, make herself invisible. All her co-workers were doing the same. "Look," said Susan, her voice shaking. "Those are limpet mines," said one of the men further along the line. Tezza, who was in the territorials of a weekend, strictly for the piss-ups with his mates. He was white as a sheet. "Someone ought to do something," he muttered. "Yeah?" asked one of his co-workers. "Well, you'd be a fucking good choice for that." It was a standing joke in the warehouse. Everyone sneered at Tezza and his tough guy act. They were all sick of hearing Tezza brag about what a fearsome soldier he was. "I mean," started Tezza. "Yeah, go on, Tez," said a couple of the others, and soon there was a chorus of encouragement. Jane and Sue watched, appalled, as Tezza took a few steps forward. "No, don't," said Sue faintly. One of the men who'd arrived in the juggernaut had spotted Tezza. Now he was coming at a run. "Get back, you bastard!" he yelled. Tezza froze to the spot, too scared to move back.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?